So good to be here today, thinking of all of you on this beautiful Wednesday, um, especially if you like warm temperatures and high humidity. It's amazing. Um, but welcome to midweek mindfulness. It's so great to be here with everybody today. Hmm. So, in thinking about today and where we've been moving on our journey, I was thinking about maybe looking to deepen our practice just a little bit, in the sense that if you're working on a regular time of the day where you sit, um, sometimes we start with 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 7 minutes or 10 minutes. And there's something magic about 10 minutes and then 15 and then I think 30. If um, but if you're working on that daily sit, it's most helpful, of course, to connect it to something that you already do every day. Like when I first started, I remember um, I would attach it to brushing my teeth. So I would get up, I would get out of bed, go brush my teeth, do my morning, you know, um, hygiene ritual, and then I would get up and I would come out and I would sit. And of course, that's when the dogs and the cats would join me, and it was very difficult. So then I learned to feed them first, and then begin my morning sit, which is still the ritual that we have to this day. It's something we do every morning, come rain or come shine. Um, And I used to think of it as connected to brushing the teeth, but now I think of it as the pets. You know, they're hungry, they're ready to eat in the morning. They've got this little routine that we do every day. And so then that just follows that little routine. So it makes it a lot easier, right? Especially if you're trying to add something new into your schedule. And again, if if you're adding it to your schedule and it's time to go do my meditation, right? Like that's not really creating the right the brain response or the chemical response in the body that we're looking for. We're looking for something that feels good, that's going to reinforce what you're doing on a daily basis, right? And that doesn't mean that there won't be hard days. I'm not suggesting that there won't. Um, but if you connect it in a place where it fits naturally and it's not pushing something out of the way or it's not making that part of your day uncomfortable, then it really makes a big difference in really being able to move into that in a much more complete way, with some regularity. And regularity is important. It's like any muscle that we're trying to build, right? You have to keep working it and keep exercising it. One, so you can build the muscle, and then two, so that it doesn't atrophy. So this is my dear friend Coda who is joining us now. Yes, yes, aren't you, buddy? Um, yeah, so you don't want it to atrophy either. We want to stay strong. So in order to do that, we have to do it every day. It's like playing the piano. So people who learn to play the piano, the first thing they learn is right how to play their scales. Um, if you go to a magnificent concert hall and you sit down in front of a world-renowned, that's the first thing that they do to warm up is they play their scales, right? So we always come back and practice the basics over and over and over again. So that's just a little bit about building it into your daily practice. And of course, you're thinking, well, why would I do that? Well, there's an idea that the skills that are developed in meditation, which help us be more mindful, are something that once you know them, then you're good, right? You can just put it on whenever you need it. However, that's not how things work, right? So if it was that easy, then we could just teach a little class and you'd be done. Instead, we practice over and over and over again, right? To really engage, right? The what do they call it? The epigenetics, right? Or the neuroplasticity of the mind and the body, of the nervous system, so that we're firing and rewiring, right? How the body functions during times of stress, during times of joy, during most of the time, right? Consciousness is really what we're after. So it's a neat opportunity to begin to kind of change how we approach every moment of every day so that it can be deeper and richer and more complete. Um, I was just having a really great conversation with a recently graduated senior who's part of another group that I lead, and we were talking about grief. And he said, I feel really overwhelmed with the grief that I'm experiencing right now. And he said, but it's different. It's different than it was before I started meditating. So we were talking about the difference, and he's been meditating for a little over a year. And he said, what I notice is that I feel the grief really deeply and actually maybe even more powerfully, but it's also easier for me to manage. He's like, I don't just feel the grief, I also feel the joy that I had when, this friend was in my life. And I have the memories of all the wonderful times, right, that also occurred. And so it's a much bigger cup, so to speak, of awareness that he has to hold all of these different ways of understanding that particular person in their lives. And that's my experience of it. So my aunt just passed, and in sitting with my partner and my daughter, we were talking about the grieving process, and that's what I was noticing, is that my joy of the time that she and I were able to spend together, the years and years and years of all the fun that we had, and how important she was and meaningful in my life, is sitting right there along with my sadness at missing her physical presence. So just one of the benefits of the practice over time. So something to think about, something to feel about, something to consider. So as we settle in for today, I thought we would start just kind of as we normally do, with a nice breathing, meditation. Maybe drop in, check in with our bodies, and then see how our feelings are doing, right? And then gently come back to whatever anchor we choose in order to grow that cup, so to speak. Um, and when we're talking about investigating, we want to remember our window of tolerance, right? And our window of tolerance is what are we able to manage in this moment? So if we're having a feeling that comes up and it's in the 1 to 3 range, then yeah, that's no big deal. We can manage that. If it's in the 4 to 6 range, well, we could be leaning on the uncomfortable, right, or the overly exciting. Either way, if we're up in the 6 range, and in that instance, we want to really consider: do I want to lean into this discomfort or excitement and sit with it and really watch it to see what it does? Or do I want to reground in the moment, right? So, and if you find yourself in the 7, 8, or 9 range, I suggest we just reground in the moment. And by that, I mean, open your eyes, feel the chair or the couch you're sitting on, reconnect with your environment in a way that stabilizes, right, your mental and emotional self in that moment, right? So this is a practice. Yeah. And so we're practicing. But if we find ourselves starting to feel overwhelmed, then we want to reground into something that's a little safer, a little more comfortable, right? And then when you're ready, venture back in again. And once again, it's like building that if I was going to have you like lift 200 pounds, right? We wouldn't just walk over and pick up 200 pounds, right? We'd start with like 10 pounds, right? Or 5 pounds. And we would keep practicing with that until we get up to our 200 pounds. So today we're going to be lifting some 3 or 5 pound weights. That's what we're looking for as we go through our practice today. So again, thank you everyone for being here today. So go ahead and get settled into your comfortable position. If you're sitting up, right, we want the spine to be nice and straight up and down, the head balanced comfortably on top of the spine. And then feel where your arms or your hands rest in your lap so that it creates balance in your body. So sometimes when we rest our hands where they always rest, it causes us to hunch forward, or it pushes us back. So see if you can find a place in your lap. Maybe it's brand new that you try something today, but so that our body feels balanced and connected. As we begin to settle in, begin to drop in, begin to really become aware of our bodies and our breath. And I will invite the bell to begin our meditation. And if you're new to all of this, it's okay. We're just going to breathe and we're going to observe our breath wherever we feel it the most keenly in this moment. So begin to notice your breathing. Where is it the strongest in your physical sensation of it right now? Is it the tips of the nostrils with the coolness of the in-breath? Or in the warmth on the out-breath? Is it the back of the throat? Maybe the chest? Maybe it's the rise and the fall of your diaphragm. Just feeling those ribs expand and feeling them contract. Wherever it happens to be for you in this moment, that's what's most important. So really drawing our awareness, our attention to that place. See if we can let it settle right there and just really notice what's happening. Just notice the breath. Not controlling the breath in any way, just breathing, but noticing the breathing. And as your mind starts to wander, as it always will, there's no judgment there. It's the natural function of the mind. Just notice what it found to be important. Honor that. And then for this moment, we want to just gently set that aside and let it go. And come back to the breath. Back to the sensation of breathing in your body. And sometimes people will say, I sat there and I forced my mind to stay on my breath. Which I'm sure is possible. But instead, perhaps try bringing just a little curiosity to your breath. See if you can really notice it. How often do we really pay attention to this very much taken for granted aspect of our daily existence? Right? So often we forget about the breath until it's not working properly, or it's working too well and we're feeling a little overwhelmed. See if you can feel it from the first moment of its inception as the coolness touches the tip of the nostrils, flows in through the nasal passages, down through the windpipe. Feel it brush against the back of your throat. Feel your diaphragm pushing down against your stomach and your other organs as it makes room for your lungs to expand. Feeling your midsection swell and then your chest rise as you breathe in. And then feel that place where the breath turns and becomes an out breath. Noticing the difference in the feel of the out breath and the in breath as the air comes back up out of the lungs, back out through the windpipe, again touches the throat, back out through the tip of the nose. Really staying with it every little bit of the way. And if your mind is finding this rather boring or annoying or whatever that is, that's okay. That's your mind's job, right? It's here to make judgments and keep us safe. So maybe see if you can notice that boring, notice its irritations. Just one more thing in the array of your awareness. Just like the sensation of your breath. Now play with your breath a little. Really feel the movement when you draw air in more quickly, more slowly. Maybe try deeper breaths, or maybe really, really, really shallow breaths. Almost to the point where you can't really feel it. Just exploring with that curiosity about this thing that, again, we just so take for granted. Let's just play with it for a little while. And as you're playing, if you notice you're becoming distracted, that noticing is why we're here. You're like, I'm distracted. All right, I'll take note of what it was, and then I'll come back to my breath. And if your mind has a steady stream of chatter, that's okay too. It's helpful not to fight it or to judge it as good or bad or right or wrong. It's just what your mind's managing right now in the best way that it can. So maybe just notice the chatter and continue to breathe in and breathe out. Now, I'd like you to bring your awareness to your body. Not necessarily that pinpoint awareness that we sometimes practice, but just a general awareness, letting it kind of zoom around in your body. And what I'm inviting you to do, if it feels comfortable, if you'd like to try it and bring that curiosity forward, just on each exhale, whether you're controlling your breath or just simply allowing your body to breathe, in each case, I'd like you to see if you can let your body just get a little heavier and a little heavier with each out breath. Noticing the parts of the body that maybe are holding tension, but just letting your whole body just get heavier and heavier with every out breath. And just noticing what happens as we breathe out and we relax at the same time. We just let go of conscious control of our body more and more with each out breath. Letting your feet and your legs, just letting them sink down in the air or the floor. Feeling the back of your body just nestling down in deeper and deeper into the cushion or the mat or the chair, the bench or the couch or whatever you happen to be resting on. And if you can't imagine your body getting heavier and heavier, and you can't feel that, then just imagine that you can imagine it. And play with your breath, maybe stretching that exhale out nice and long, nice and slow. If you've ever watched someone sleep, their bodies are totally relaxed and they have nice, long, slow breaths. And that physical state of being, that diaphragmatic movement, and activates the vagus nerve, which activates the brainstem, telling it that our bodies are safe in this place. So safe that you could fall asleep and know that you are protected. And now, moving back to the breath, go ahead and take a nice, full, deep breath in through the nose, holding it just a little bit at the top, and then slowly, slowly releasing it, beginning to wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, maybe lightly stretching, and I will invite the bell to bring our meditation to an end. Absolutely, Leah. So go ahead and as you're comfortable, opening your eyes and returning back to the space. As always, I want to thank all of you for coming today. Always so amazing, the wonderful space that you create here. Such great energy. I'm so grateful for all of you.